So, hello and welcome back to some more of me doing some sort of request. Um, so we're continuing with requests that some people have said, and I don't remember who exactly requested this, but sorry, it doesn't matter. um, sorry, but it doesn't matter. Um, so yeah, I don't know. So between the last episode and this episode, I thought to myself, I should really what I really should do is like is is get to like the intro ends up being very long, so I should like get to the story pretty quickly and all that stuff. But um uh it's kind of disappointing right now because of some things that happened recently. So um obviously, by watching videos on this channel that I like to read stories, a lot of that type of thing. You know, all that sort of interests me. And something you might not know is that I watch quite a lot of certain British YouTubers, the Sidemen, and their many, I guess we'll say, friends uh, over there in the UK. And uh, it may have been like 5 months late, but I did uh, watch a video, well, two videos actually, where Mr. Calix and Mrs. Talia Mar uh, made a video promoting their new sort of like story thing that they made on an app called Unread, which, yeah. But the problem was, since I was 5 months late, I couldn't read it for free. I had to actually pay for it, which I haven't because I didn't want to. And I'd end up paying for it, and then I would not read anything else besides the single story that I just talked about. So, you know, so that would have been me like going through that whole story. Um, but I'm not going to anymore because I don't want to have to pay for it. And yeah, so that's great. Um, I'll end up just watching a video on what actually happens in the story, and then we'll just move on with our lives, and you won't ever get to see me play it or go through it. But anyways, we are here reading something different, uh, or well, we are here reading something different. The what we're actually doing, on a hopefully happier note, so we can hopefully not have really this shit. Oh my fucking god. I'm going to injure someone, even though it's nobody's fault. I did want to. Fuck it. Having all sorts of issues here. So, whew, we are here reading something that somebody requested. Don't know who it was. It may have actually been the writer of the story. Honestly, I don't know. Um, yeah. So last time we read something that somebody requested and it was pretty awful. I think it was what they requested. I'm not completely sure, but I don't know. I couldn't understand anything that was going on. And yeah. But here we are reading a different story that somebody requested, called Unearthed Arcana, a RWBY AU story by NofBlockz, I think. And yeah, now that we're like at least like 5 minutes in the video, we're gonna get into it because hopefully we can hopefully I don't know, hopefully we can just get through some more of this, and that's basically all we got. Yeah, I don't know. I'm really disappointed that I can't read through that myself. I would have loved to do that and do it for this channel, but everything has to be a problem for me. Let's just get into this so I can stop being so sad. Anyways, Prologue, a nightmare. All around Cassandra, she could smell it. The smell of smoke and smog clouding her senses and threatening to strangulate her lungs. Vale was burning. The royal guardsmen of King Leonius Trueheart lay dead around her. She felt like crying out, to call for her friends, for anyone. A guard's corpse beside her was suddenly impaled by a ethereal ruby spear. The figure who held the spear was adorned in a regal emerald dress. All aspects of this figure proclaimed royalty. But the eyes of this queen were completely black, save for their sclera and pupils, which glowed with a bright amber. Her blackened, grim-like claws were drenched in blood, and a grin on the woman's face froze Cassandra to the spot. Poor little child, to see everything you cherish before you burn, to see loved ones fall, to see your home shattered and torn apart around you. I pity you, but alas, the lady raised the spear over a shaking Cassandra. Your kind disgust me. Cassandra woke with a scream in her core as a beacon, causing Maleficent and Yamara to jump up, startled. Cassandra panted, attempting to catch her breath for a brief moment from the nightmare. Sweat poured down her face as her amber eyes scoured the room for any threats. All she saw were her concerned friends, her home. Placing her face into her hands, Cassandra broke into a soft whimper. Yamara took the time to hug her friend as Maleficent simply took a moment to look out the dormitory window. The moon was full tonight. Must have been another dream about her, Maleficent murmured for a moment, looking over her shoulder as Yamara comforted her distressed friend. Deciding not to alienate herself from a chance to show her compassion, Maleficent walked beside the two, enveloping Cassandra in a soft blanket and patting her on the back. The Starborn was too young still, Maleficent pondered. She hoped beyond all hope she'd mature fast enough for when the time came. The night passed on with little to no other disturbances, and although Cassandra did not get such a proper rest, she was still as joyful and energy-filled as any other day, almost as if nothing concerned her. Maleficent didn't wish to dig into her case. After all, why would one want to bother with such dreams? Of course, such visions would always be of some cause of alarm for most, but Maleficent let it rest as simply a case of a bad dream. She needn't make her friends so worried about what was to come later. She needed Cassandra ready for when her magic was required to kill something. Hearing Cassandra beckon her over to the table for some breakfast, Maleficent simply shrugged and made her way to some nice and warm tea. Chapter 1. Sparring. You ready for this, Cassandra? As ready as I'll ever be, Malin? A sudden burst of magic woke the quiet courtyard of Beacon as Cassandra and Maleficent engaged in a small sparring match, bolts of magic being either countered, dodged, or in the case of Maleficent, hurled into portals and thrown back at Cassandra. Every attack, every sweep of Cassandra's broom was countered either by a simple dash through a portal or parried by a stop sign being effectively used as a warhammer. And yet every maneuver brought back upon Cassandra was met with quite the adaptable battle strategy. The two Azimar found themselves in a stalemate, each one finding the counter to each other's approach. Of course, Maleficent was handcrafted to overpower her foes. Knowing this, Maleficent was holding back any actual approach to combat, lest she actually harm the fledgling Starborn. Cassandra had yet to really muster anything close to a powerful spell anyways. Cassandra, growing tired of the continuing brawl, decided to switch her tactics once again, conjuring two blades that almost appeared to be large splinters from her broom into her hands as she slashed at Maleficent, who in response made a few attacks hit her, cutting off a conjured pair of gloves and whatnot. Because Cassandra had made herself a melee target for her, a simple swing of the stop sign sent Cassandra flying back a good few feet. You need to stop rushing into combat like that, Cassandra. How do you think you'll fare against? Cassandra was smirking, with her thumb down. Maleficent knew the signs when her fledgling was planning something, and looking down at the quickly materializing rune on the ground beneath her feet, she learnt too late the trap Cassandra actually led her to. The entire school of Beacon awoke with a startle from a sudden explosion of magic from the courtyard, the shockwave even shaking the coffee of the headmaster of the academy, Oz. Looking out his window, looking above the entirety of the school, he looked at the cloud of dust that was the two Starborn's battleground. Looks like they're at it again, Oz chuckled, sipping on his rejuvenating beverage. Coughing and swiping away at the dust blocking her view, Cassandra kept herself on guard, attempting to gauge whether or not her risky tactic worked. As the dust cloud cleared, her smirk appeared once again as the kneeling figure of her adversary appeared through the cloud like a shadow on the ground. Her gloating was cut short, however, as that figure suddenly was in front of her and delivered a simple knockback spell, one that wasn't so simple when one flew back a dozen feet into a stone wall conjured behind them, causing their aura to slightly shimmer as it neared dispersing. Clever usage of a rune spell, Cassandra, but I wouldn't gloat over that. After all, your foes may actually live through that, Maleficent lectured, hoping through another one of her blackened rifts toward her friend, or hopping through another one of her blackened rifts toward her friend, lifting her up. Ow, okay, I'll keep that in mind. Ow, Cassandra grunted, brushing off some dust and rubbing her back. Perhaps it would bruise thanks to the impact. At first she thought about yelling at her friend for throwing her into a stone pillar. Looking at the warm smile of her friend, she thought otherwise. So, want to get some hot chocolate? Cassandra asked, perhaps a bit too casually for the moment. All Maleficent responded with was a simple nod and a chuckle. Ooh. See, I don't fully understand what's going on, but it's not. I think with the last story, when I said that I didn't understand what was going on, it was partially that, and also it was hard to read as well. So it wasn't just that I wasn't really understanding the story, which right now, I mean, I'm kind of understanding what's going on here, but there's not a lot of details being thrown around right yet. Whereas with the last story, I was just like, what is even happening? Because it was written so badly. This is written very well. It's written very well. It looks like they actually tried. I mean, and it doesn't. It's like relatively. I mean, it's not like it looks all screwed up like some stories end up looking like. So, it's good. It's good so far. But it's time to take a drink. Grape soda. Anyways, Chapter 2, Tea Time and Premonitions. Oh boy. The Mess Hall Beacon, or as the millennials of the time like to call it, the cafeteria, was a place that many of the students of Beacon liked to hang about. There were tables that the more popular students chose, others where their respective teams sat, and a place where the bullies dwelled. Okay. It was currently empty, however. The day had not begun. Maleficent and Cassandra often liked this period. It was where they could talk freely, and within the peaceful quietness of an empty room. Sipping on some hot chocolate, Maleficent was currently in the midst of answering questions that the fledgling Starborn often had. So that's why I ask you on why politics are so important. It just doesn't make sense. Why can't one strong ruler make sure his people are happy? Cassandra asked a bit naively. The reaction from Maleficent brought at first... Damn it. Anyways. Okay. Direction from Maleficent brought at first only more confusion from her chuckle. Cassandra, do you know that it takes more than good charisma to lead people? Maleficent went on, attempting to explain to Cassandra. Eventually, however, the subject was dropped. So, Malin, Cassandra then asked, hesitating at first, a gesture Maleficent did not miss and raised an eyebrow to the notion. You know how I have those nightmares, right? The question took back Maleficent a bit. Was she going to ask? Yeah, I do. Why? Maleficent responded carefully, sipping on her hot chocolate. Cassandra rubbed her shoulder as she explained. I think we both know who I am dreaming of. Maleficent, with her infinite wisdom, spat out some of her hot chocolate and tried to pass it off as some joke. Cassandra, who's the lucky? A simple soft slap on the face brought Maleficent back on topic. Maleficent, stop joking around. You know what I'm asking. So, Cassandra. Maleficent silenced the agitated fledgling, taking a deep sigh. I do know who you're dreaming of, but they're just dreams. Nothing more, nothing less, Maleficent explained, telling a white lie to try and relax her friend. She didn't worry about what should eventually come about. Just dreams, huh? Cassandra replied a bit quietly. She took a moment to consider those words before sipping on her tea. All right, then. It's just odd having them occur so, well, often. Yeah, I know, Maleficent leaned on her arm, yawning slightly. Well, on to the topic for today. We might have to go on the outskirts of Vale. There's a nidhogg flying around, and Cassandra began. It was interrupted by Maleficent. Yeah, I know our jobs, Maleficent stretched, getting up alongside her friend. I suppose we should assemble a team then. We don't want to fight a draconic foe as a duo, eh? Maleficent smirked, looking forward to put their training to the test. Ooh, okay. Well then. So I don't know how long this episode's been going on, but I'm going to try not to make these too long, like I've said in the past. And I don't know how long my intro was, so yeah, we're gonna end it here. Next time we come back, well, it'll be with Not Guilty, as you see over in the top left. But after that, we'll come back with the second part of me reading this story with Chapter 3. This one is quite long, so this may take a while, but, it's good so far, It has it's a good beginning of a story, some crazy shit going on. So, yeah. Next time, we'll come back with this. And, yeah, I got nothing. That's gonna have to be the end. Need to actually end the episode. So let's,